Here we have a fragrance from the brand Indult Paris. And this fragrance initially came out in 2008 and it was named Cuir. It's a leather-based fragrance. Of course, cuir is French for leather. But in 2024, this perfume was reimagined. So in today's Cephalabon contributor video, I'm going to tell you all about this fragrance, which has pink pepper, suede leather, there is clove, there's cedarwood, bergamot. It's a complex note breakdown. And I'm also going to let you in on a very special giveaway opportunity. So make sure to stay tuned. Now, before I begin today's episode and I give you my thoughts on Cuir 404 by Indult Paris, this is the reimagined version of the 2008 version Cuir. But this one, of course, the spices, it has that eugenol vibe on account of the clove, it has that rosiness on account of the pink pepper and that pepperiness on account of the cedar. It's a really interesting note breakdown and it's composed by Francis Kirkjohn. I want to start the video off first by saying that if you're a fan of fragrance-related content, and of course if you love smelling your best, hit subscribe, hit the bell, and give this video a thumbs up for the algorithm. It would really mean a lot to me. So of course, if you want to participate in the giveaway, and it's a really simple process, all you have to do is shoot on over to cephalabon.com. It's going to be the first link down below in the description box. So after you've read through the article and you become a registered reader, just leave a thoughtful comment on the article. It's a really simple process. However, make sure to check back on over to the article on the date that's mentioned in the article. That's when the winner is going to be announced, so you don't want to miss it if you end up being called the winner. And also, I'm going to leave all of the e-commerce links down below if you want to discover this product. I'm not getting paid anything for this. This is not a sponsored video. However, I do want to make it easy for you to find a reliable place to find this fragrance should you desire to do more research on it, sample it, or even purchase it. Francis Kirkjohn, he's an amazing perfumer. My goodness, he's composed everything from Eau Noir by Christian Dior to Baccarat Rouge to Ultramalt by Jean-Paul Gaultier, Imperial by Navitus Parfum, the original Le Male by Jean-Paul Gaultier, Mr. Burberry. He is amazing. And even Burberry Her, which is a really nice sort of a sugary strawberry type of a fragrance. Here we have Cuir 404. It's spicy, it's woodsy, there's pink pepper, there's clove, there's cedarwood, there's bergamot, and of course you have this leather accord in here as well, because all leathers in perfumery are accords. There's no such thing as a leather note. You cannot distill the essence from leather. In any case, I'm going to give you my thoughts on the smell in just a little while. Let's start things off with a quick look at the presentation first. Now, right in the opening of this fragrance, the first thing that I picked up on is the clove. It actually opens up with this very bright eugenol vibe. If you've ever smelled clove or bay leaf or ingredients that contain eugenol, you know exactly what it smells like. And the clove in here gives it this really interesting, bright, almost minty, mentholated personality. And I'm not sure if there is mint happening somewhere here on a secret level or something like that, but I certainly get a lot of clove. The clove is very spicy and it's very interesting. And of course, I really enjoy the note of clove in a lot of fragrances. There's Musc Ravageur by Frederic Malle, has a really interesting clove ingredient in there. And I've tried some other coffee-based perfumes that also incorporate a note of clove into them just to make them a bit more interesting or to make them smell like Turkish coffee and what have you, which is typically using cardamom, but I've smelled coffee in certain coffee-based perfumes, but I digress. This one is a really fantastic, spicy, leathery, without being overly aggressive, because I think that's a question that I get asked often as well. When it comes to certain leather-based perfumes, what type of leather can we expect? A lot of times, the preponderance of a leather accord is the utilization of the note of saffron, or saffronol being the synthetic counterpart. So the interesting part about this is, yes, I am actually picking up on a bit of a saffron vibe, but in my opinion, for at least a few hours, the clove supersedes it. So it has this really interesting eugenol-like personality. The clove is in there, it's very bright, it definitely makes its presence known, but there's something kind of dark in the background, and I would presume that's the cedarwood at play. It comes across a little spicy, a little peppery. The pink pepper in here, it's there, but it's not too strong. And there's nothing sweet about this. In the opening, you do have this really interesting freshness, and I would gather it's coming from the bergamot because there's a nice bit of bergamot in here as well. Wow, and that brightness of clove in conjunction with the cedarwood in the opening, it's very nice. The leather is non-aggressive. It's not too assertive. There's a certain smoothness to it, so it's kind of coming across as more of like a suede leather. Of course, there are some really rough leathers, Tuscan leather by Tom Ford, Pure Distance M. There are so many different leather personalities on the market. Any of the Memo Paris fragrances, whether we're talking about Iberian leather or African leather, they all kind of have a very dark personality. This one, on the other hand, there's a certain brightness and a certain woodsiness that really sets it apart from anything else that I've tried. And despite the fact that the original version of this came out in 2008, I never had the opportunity to sample it until recently. I know from this brand, Tejoda is a beautiful vanilla-based fragrance, absolutely one of my favorites. And I've tried a few from this brand, but I finally got around to trying this one in today's Cephalabon contributor video. And let me tell you something, it's a really, really good fragrance. So I hope you have the opportunity to sample it at the very least. I'm not telling you to blind buy it, but I would love for you to sample it so that you can see what it's all about, especially if you are a fan of the works of Francis Kirkjohn. I think he's an incredible perfumer. Please utilize this opportunity to check this fragrance out if you haven't already done so. Let's go ahead and finish things off with my overall assessment. First up, in terms of the uniqueness and the overall smell, for me personally, I know a lot of leather fragrances can be redundant, especially if they employ the same type of leather as many of their counterparts. This one, on the other hand, very different, does it in its own unique way, which I really appreciate. Longevity on this one is a good 8 hours on skin, so it's comprised of a lot of base notes. They kind of secure the longevity of the fragrance. Projection was really good. I would say for the first half hour of application, it radiated within an arm's length, but it was an elbow's length scent pretty consistently for about, I would say, 5-6 hours. Right around that 7 to 8 hour mark is when it totally vanishes, and then you can basically reapply at that point or just wait until the following day, depending on your spraying frequency. Versatility on this one, you can dress it up or dress it down, although I can see a lot of people arguing that this is more of a dressed up fragrance on account of that formality that it kind of carries across. Perfectly unisex, although I can see people arguing that it's masculine, but I don't think, like I said, the leather is not too rough and tumble. There's a lot of agreeable personalities within this composition that I think it's, you know, not too heavy-handed, it's not too envelope pushing. So perfectly unisex, and I think this one would probably work better in the fall and winter. That's my opinion. And I think this one might appeal to an older demographic because it lacks the sweetness. And as far as the presentation goes, I think the presentation is quite minimalist, but of course it prevents this from being an ultra niche fragrance that costs hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and thank goodness for that. My final verdict on this fragrance is it is a really wonderfully done leather-based fragrance with some eugenol, you know, some clove, some pink pepper, some bergamot, some cedarwood. It's a really nice fragrance. Please check it out if you have the opportunity to do so. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for joining. Once again, participate in the giveaway. You have a chance to win. First link down below in the description box. I would really appreciate it. And of course, if you took anything of value from today's episode, it would mean a lot to me if you would consider supporting the channel by clicking subscribe, hitting the bell, and of course, giving this video a thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm. It would really mean a lot to me. So thanks again for watching. I love you all, and we'll see you tomorrow with a new episode.